call this meeting to order, September 7th, here at CT Boardroom. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll, please.
Mrs. Miller? Here. Mrs. Snyder? Dr. Stafford?
Here.
Mr. Evans?
Here.
Mr. McDonald?
Here.
Okay, we'll start with the superintendent's report with Dr. Alt.
Thank you, Dr. Stafford. I'd like to block items A through I and recommend in the area of personnel, item A, recommend the following personnel to be approved. The acceptance of the resignation of Paul Rui as Director of Facilities and Safety, effective September 3rd. We want to wish Paul the very best in his new endeavor in the world of construction. Paul served in the district for 6 years and most recently as Director of Facilities and Safety, so we wish him well. Item B is the acceptance and the resignation of Joe Miners as kitchen manager effective September 15th. Item C is approval of the job description for Paul Rui's position, Supervisor of Facilities and Operations, included in the board packet. We had tweaked it just a little bit with the new position coming in. Item D is that we recommend the following individuals to serve as the following individual to serve as the district's compliant officer per district policy. This was based on the policy that we approved for non-discrimination. It indicated that we needed to identify a compliance officer. We've been using Megan Ribbit previously, so we just wanted to make it official. And so that would be item D. Item E is non-athletic supplemental contracts for the following individuals. One of the reasons we have it on the agenda today is they are anxious to get going. They've been doing some auditions. So this is Children's Theater, Emily Hannon and Robin Piccioni. And under instructional, item F, additional hours and compensation for the following individuals for diagnostic math, reading assessment, training for the 2021 school year, not to exceed 12 hours at their hourly rate. That's Paula Backscheider and Carolyn Ratking. And item G, additional hours for the following individuals listed as home instructors for the 21-22 school year at $30 per hour. Under athletics, we have vetted this out in our school community for individuals interested in becoming ticket scanners. I've changed the title from ticket takers to ticket scanners. And so we were happy to have a couple of students, item H, Henry Yogg and Ellie Miller, that are interested, as well as the following individuals as ticket scanners, as you see listed under item I.
Any questions? I'll make a motion that we approve items A through I as presented.
I'll second.
Roll, please.
Dr. Stafford?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller? Yes.
And then item J, Ashley Miller as a ticket scanner for the 21-22 school year at $30 per day.
Make a motion, we adopt item J as read.
I'll second. Roll.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller? Abstain. And Dr. Stafford?
Yes. Okay, we'll move to the treasurer's report with Mrs. Finland.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Stafford. The only comment that I have, a couple of, actually, is the amended certificate. That's for our fiscal year 22. Those are our final numbers that I'm presenting to the Hamilton County Auditor's Office for this year. As you know, as we do these throughout the year, because of funds go up and down, that we always revisit. But this is the final. We filed a temporary back in June and July, so this is our permanent. This is what I'm saying, what it is today. And also, as far as the Gordon Food Service, as you know, the auditor of state makes us close all our blanket purchase orders at the end of the year. So if there's any invoices dated in June, they have to be paid the following year. The only other comment that I do have is I wanted to share with the board, we were granted another grant thanks to Mr. Olson and his team, Megan, and everybody else that participated. The grant was for, it was called the School Safety and Security Grant, and what they did is they proposed a application to them to upgrade our cameras, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Olson, but the amount of work that we need to do to really to get our security cameras up to date and all working is a cost of $81,374. The grant we received was the maximum of $40,000, so that paid for half of the things that we need to do to upgrade it. And hats off to Mr. Olson and his team and Megan who participated in this grant. So that was the only comment that I had this evening. So I would like to block A and B. Is there any questions?
For the 80,000 that's going to take care of the cameras, we haven't talked about the cameras in a little while. There were a lot that were disabled at like the bus depot and back behind the stadium.
Mhm.
Is that included, like to get all the cameras working again that were not working?
I'll have to defer that to Mr. Olson.
So the first step is to get the guts of it, if you will, the software upgraded.
Yeah.
Then we'll find out which cameras come back online.
Gotcha.
Because right now the cameras can't operate because the software is outdated. So that's why some of the cameras, I'm crossing my fingers and I'm hoping aren't accurate. But then we'll know and be able to cross the next bridge. Because we also want to get cameras here at CTO.
Yeah.
That's been on the drawing board as well.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Is this upgrade something that should just be planned for? Like,
Yes.
So it's just something that just fell between the cracks and it just never happened?
One of the things that I've been working on for the last 6 to 8 months is a preventative maintenance plan, because we need to do all of that, and I did not find one in place when I came here about 13 months ago. And so that is something we need to do, not only for that, but looking at roofs, looking at, asphalt, everything.
Yeah, okay, perfect, thank you.
Uh-huh.
So with this, is it something that you're looking at maybe once a year, every couple years they recommend, or?
That's a
Because I
great
mean, that's a
question.
nice chunk.
And sure, and what we'll do is Forward Edge is going to be our vendor for this, and we will talk to them about when we should look at it again. But it's just like we found with the controls for the HVAC system. We went by our time limit on that, and so after about 6, 7 years, we're going to look at that again. And unfortunately, it's just like anything that happens in your home computer. Things advance so quickly that you have to upgrade.
Correct.
And heck, I had to get a new, what do you call the thing that talks to the TV and all that at home, the modem, or because my TV wouldn't talk to it anymore.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
But if we keep up with this, the price tag isn't gonna be 80,000 every time, or
Well, that depends, because it depends upon the technology. I mean, that's the sad part. It's like anything else. When I was teaching 100 years ago and I had an overhead projector with a crank and I had a $15 bulb, that was one thing. Then we had the fancy things on the ceiling that had $350 bulbs. Now we got the fancy VSonics coming, and so everything is wonderful.
So they say.
And yet, technology just has a cost to it. Yeah.
okay.
So the 80 grand, once we figure out what cameras are working and not, then could that be an additional cost for those that aren't?
It could be.
Okay.
It could be. But
camera, okay.
the good news is that what we're going to do with Forward Edge, the original camera system had a proprietary stamp to it, if you will, so it's harder to serve with anybody. This will be non-proprietary in nature, and so it should be easier to service, less expensive to service. That's a similar thing that we did with the HVAC system. Exactly, because of the systems that were installed originally 8 years ago were seemingly proprietary in nature.
Yeah, and if we choose to go with a different technology company or different,
Correct.
management company, facility, that new service can service the cameras or service the HVAC versus us having one with this company and this company
Right.
because they're proprietary, so.
Okay, good, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, I'll make a motion, we approve items A and B of the treasurer's report.
I'll second.
Roll, please.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Dr. Stafford?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Okay, do we have any announcements? Hearing in the public? Old business? New business? Okay. We do have one presentation, and we are not recording for this, correct?
We are, that would be fun,
I'm
but
just-
no.
Okay, all right, so our one presentation is a walkthrough of the facilities with the administration and the Board of Education. We will not be recording this for those watching, so that is our only presentation. We will not be going into executive session after, so we will just be adjourning after the walkthrough.
That is correct. And you know, the part of this walkthrough, and I want to thank, I know Garen Evans and Tom Olson have kind of put this together. It kind of aligns again to our strategic plan and the efficient operations and fiscal accountability. So as we talk about teaching and learning and putting our kids in the best position to learn, and kind of segues into this whole conversation about technology and cameras, we have to start thinking about utilizing our space effectively and efficiently. Not that we're not, but we're out of classroom space over at main campus. You know, we have this building with great old bones, and so I think it's important for us to walk around and at least visually see what we have to offer, and then use this year to take some time and really delve into what is our plan for 5 years or 10 years, because we are busting at the seams in a lot of ways. And so what is feasible? What's fiscally responsible? What are some options? We're not talking about having a bond issue next November. We're talking about just trying to gather data and information so that we know what we're dealing with moving forward. So I look forward to it. We have our walking shoes on. I don't know if we'll get all the way through. We'll get through CT Young. Our plan is to get through CT Young, and then the principals are going to meet us at the main campus. Probably about all the time we'll have for this evening. I don't know if we're going to get to the rest of the building or the athletic facilities. We might reschedule that for later this fall when it's a little cooler.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Thank you, Chief.